All right. Well, we are less than a week out. Less than a week out until the 2024 North Carolina Republican Party State Convention. So, this is the pre to the pregame show, right? Yeah, the pre-game show, right? Whatever you want to call it. So, I've already talked about it, but let me just say this real quick. Last year's convention was an absolute piece of hot, steaming cow dung. It was terrible. It was horribly run and just a disaster. So what has happened is barely 2 days after Jason Simmons was elected to the chairman's position of the North Carolina Republican Party, the state party put out sent this email out to members. I don't know who they to people on the your general Republicans that are on the state party email list. This was just general Republicans. This was not any special executive committee or anything. But the state party put out sent out an email, and I'm going to go ahead and read it to you. It says, "Fellow Republicans, in response to the sentiments of dissatisfaction at the 2023 state convention, the NCGOP Central Committee created a subcommittee to create a more efficient and transparent convention experience for all delegates. The 2024 NCGOP State Convention Subcommittee of 7 people will work independently and make recommendations that will, number 1, ensure voting transparency, number 2, employ efficiencies to complete all business at each convention, and number 3, continually enhancing the overall delegate experience. The NCGOP leadership acknowledges the last convention's frustrations and difficulties and holds a steadfast resolve to improve and streamline the policies and best practices that have served our party over many years, all the while create new and innovative ways to ensure the completion of our party's business. The historic motto of our great state of North Carolina shall serve as our solemn promise to you, our delegates. Esse quam videre, to be rather than to seem, as we prioritize authenticity and substance over appearance. The members of the 2024 State Convention Committee are as follows: Karen Bentley, Chair of the 14th Congressional District; Courtney Gels, Chair of 4th Congressional District. She's a person who I endorse. She does a good job. Emmanuel Jarvis, President of the Frederick Douglass Foundation of North Carolina. Steve Long, Assistant General Counsel of the NCGOP. Linda Petroff, Chair of the 10th Congressional District. She's also fairly solid. Harvey West, Jr., Chair of the 1st Congressional District. Not my favorite person in the world. Dave Wickersham, Chair of the 3rd Congressional District. He's okay. The chair of this committee will be Mr. Emmanuel Jarvis. Thank you for attending to this matter. Best regards, NCGOP. So vote and transparency, that is more than likely they're going to go to paper ballots. And they're going to go back to counties Say the chair of Alamance County will announce Alamance County has 12 votes for Mr. Smith and 5 votes for Mr. Lee, that sort of thing, and go down the list. In the past few elections in the Watley administration, you have had electronic voting. People get so confused, takes forever and ever, and then the results are not given the respect they deserve. It's just like a little screen that rolls down, and then it rolls back up, rolls down, just goes up, and it's hard for somebody like me really to get a good, be able to tabulate those results and track them via paper and pen. Usually I have to email the state party, and it might be a week or two before I get the results after the convention. Number 2, employee efficiencies, complete all business at convention. The thing that they're starting to do this year is actually put in the convention schedule every delegate and guest at the convention that registers for the convention, they'll get a goodie bag, and in the goodie bag will be, of course, the convention program. On the convention program, it'll give you the times of the business sessions. Now, what'll be new, and this goes to employee efficiencies, complete all business at the convention, is each block of business will have what reports are going to be discussed. Number 3, enhancing the overall delegate experience. This one, I remember first when I was involved, lived down in Wilmington from I was active in the NCGOP from 2011 to 2014. I was living down in Wilmington at the time. I believe it was Rhonda Omarosa made a told the group of us delegates from New Hanover that it would be nice if they could have water stations around the convention hall, or little snacks, refreshments, because these business sessions can get rather lengthy and long. And if it was 2019 and you have so many people in the venue that the HVAC system stops working and it gets filled with hot air, and it goes from 72 degrees to 95 degrees within like a few minutes, that's when you really need to get the water. You should have the water anyway if you're in a comfortable 72 degree room, but especially if it's a Concord 2019 situation. So have some water, some drinks. At the very least, have a water station, really. At the very, very least. Maybe some crackers. I mean, really, though, nice to have some fruit and some little bags of pretzels. And, the state party is making bank on this convention. They're making a lot of money. So, put some of that money back and invest in the, give us delegates some snacks and some drinks, please. Let's see, another thing, let me say this. Billy Miller, who's been the convention chair of the state convention for since the 90s. Last year, I thought his performance was not so great. He's had a couple blunders the last couple years. 2 years ago, somebody tried to bring a resolution to the floor, and you're not supposed to say what the resolution is until the delegates vote on whether or not they want to hear a resolution. So Billy Miller says, that resolution, that's the one dealing with the, what'd he say? Crime, or said something about, that one's dealing with the bad behavior or something like that. So he was kind of hinting at what the resolution was. So he was kind of influencing the vote a little bit. And that resolution failed You need 2/3 vote to hear the resolution, and it did not get 2/3, unfortunately. And then last year, there was somebody made a motion to dismiss, and this unfortunately has become a trend in the last 3 NCGOP conventions, where somebody makes a motion to dismiss at just a ridiculous early hour, usually 4:30. We're lucky to still be doing business at 5 o'clock like the last 3 years. It's crazy because 2011, 2014, and also before Watley showed up, 2018, 2019. I mean, we were doing business till 6:30, sometimes 7 or 8 o'clock. It was great. It's very productive, I thought. But Billy, somebody made a motion to dismiss, and then Billy said, assuming we dismiss. So he was trying to, again, influence the vote and everything. But I'll admit, though, that this year, though, I think Billy was the convention chair at my district convention, District 5, over in Wilkesboro about a month ago. And he really did a great job with the convention. And he took a few moments to talk about the state convention while the votes were being tabulated for the district slots for the national convention delegates. So all those votes were being tabulated. Billy talked about the state convention, encouraged everybody to read the reports beforehand, educate themselves. And then he also talked about, he said that the party is really trying to listen to complaints about there not being the business all being done. And he says he's done the convention since 96. And he said there's only been six times out of, 28 years or something, where the convention has actually gotten all the business done. That's been a complaint going back to the 90s. But he said that this, especially because last year was so bad that you did not get a platform, you did not get planarization done at all. Usually you have one minor business issue, but last year that you had, again, planarization and platform not being heard at all. And they said the state party was really trying to make an effort to get all the business done this year. And he said one way that they're going to do it is he said again, the problem is that there's too many speakers and speeches and not enough time for business. Now, he said that before, in the past, before 2019, they had to have speakers and speeches during the Friday business session because they were still tabulating credentials. In other words, getting everybody verified and delegates and their counties and their voter registration, getting all that thing verified. And so he said that they had to have, speakers and speeches from auxiliary groups and candidates and non-business items, because you cannot do any party business without doing credentials. That's just the way it is. And that's not just a NCGOP thing. It's really for any, the Rotary Club, the Baptist, EDS, the Southern Alliance of Woodchuckers or Pumpkin Chunkin or something. It's just one of those things that you always have to have the credentials report before you do any business items. It's just how it is. But he said because credentials have gotten a lot easier now, and everything is very, very streamlined, electronics, everything's a lot easier than it was 5 years ago. Now you can actually get credentials done like that very quickly. So now what the party is going to do at this convention this year is actually have the auxiliary groups. That's your young Republicans, college Republicans, women, Republican men, Hispanic Assembly, Frederick Douglass, all these groups, they're actually going to have their speeches done while the votes are being tabulated for National Committee Man, Committee Woman, and RNC delegates. So, I will salute Billy Miller this year. That I think, hopefully he'll have a good year as convention chair. Seems like he's on the right foot. Now we're going to take a little bit, take a look at the convention schedule here. Thursday, registration begins at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, goes till 8. The thing with the registration pickup, in years past, I used to say that there was not enough people coming to the convention on Thursday evening. Well, let me tell you something. Last year was I got to the Corey Convention Center here in Greensboro. I got there about a little after, oh gosh, what time is it? It was like 4:10, 4:15, and I did not expect, I expected a few people to be there, but the hallway was jammed. There had to be at least like 200 people at least jammed this hallway, and you could not see any signs for the registration desks. They always have the signs down lower, like A through C is over here, D through M is over here. They would have them low, but the problem is when you're in a crowd of people, the only way you can see them is up high. So hopefully they're going to change that. I mean, I went to the executive committee meeting the end of March, and that was also a similar situation where you had probably 200 to 300 people jammed to this little lobby area at the farm at Selma, and just, again, signs low to the ground where nobody can see them. It's crazy. And you had to like say, excuse me, you know, because like I would be over here with where the D through M was, and I need to get way over here where A through C is because my last name starts with a C. So it's just, you know, crazy. So what I might recommend people doing is go to dinner first and come back around 6 o'clock or even 7 o'clock, because at 7 o'clock you have the kickoff event. That's I forget the man's name, but it's a foreign policy speaker, so that actually might be a good time, like at 7 o'clock, to get the register and get the goodie bag. Now on Friday morning, we have breakout sessions beginning at 9. Well, actually, excuse me. They actually begin at 8 o'clock. This year, I will say there's a enormous variety. I mean, this is like the best lineup and the most variety of breakout sessions that I've ever seen. And this is my 10th. This is my 10th year going to a state convention. This is awesome. So, of course, at 8 o'clock, we have the District and County Officers Association annual meeting. And that is going to run until, according to this, looks like that could run a while. It could run until possibly 10:30. Or if you want to sleep in a little bit, at 8:30, you have a choice of 3. You can do precinct you can do precinct organizing with the Leadership Institute. You can do parliamentary training with Billy Miller. This one's funny because this is the earliest that the parliamentary training has ever been. It used to be at like 10 o'clock, and even then Billy would give a joke about people being half asleep at 10 o'clock in the morning. There being 3 people, and when in reality there's like 100 people in the room. So he'll be pumped up, and I'm sure he'll have a sense of humor about the 8:30 time slot there. So that's one I usually go to. The parliamentary training with Billy Miller. My opinion, you can never have enough parliamentary training, in my opinion. Also at 8:30, if you're more of a finance wonk, you can go to Treasurer Training with Martin Oakes, the NCGOP Treasurer, and Mr. Greg Fornshell, the NCGOP Controller. At 9 o'clock, this is one I've gone to in years past. It's pretty good. It's the NCGOP Black Voices, black people in the Republican Party. Outreach, urban outreach, that sort of thing. At 9:30, we have the Improving Early Voting Performance in 2024 with the American Majority and Restoration of America. 9:30 also we have Right Now with My Faith Votes. 9:30 we have Broy Hill GOP. I have no idea what that is, but that might be fun at 9:30. 10:30 Election Integrity Panel discussion. Also at 10:30, this is one I'm definitely going to, and it's a new one, brand new for this year. Plan of Organization Overview with the Plan of Organization Committee. Also at 10:30, we have the North Carolina Federation of Republican Women. And also 10:30, we have the GOP Data Center with Mason Powell. Mason Powell, Powell. He is the data coordinator for the NCGOP. At 11 o'clock, Republican National Hispanic Assembly of North Carolina. 11:30, 5 Steps to Winning the Debate for Life with Susan B. Anthony, Pro-Life America. 11:30, campaign sidekick training with the Trump Victory Campaign. And that is all. I believe all the breakout sessions are going to run an hour, with the exception of the District County Association. That one might run a little bit longer. Well, in looking at the schedule again, they used last year. Some years they'll have it, some years they won't have it posted. And that is the meeting for the Central Committee of the NCGOP. And the Central Committee is it's about 35 people. It's all the 14 district chairs of the Congressional District of North Carolina. It's and the chairs of the auxiliary groups, and that's about 35 people or so, and they're always in a round table. And they'll usually have seats for the guest. Last year, again, it was reported in the convention program where the Central Committee was. This year is not. Sometimes in years past, I had a friend of mine who was on the Central Committee and was a district chair, and I knew I could ask him where the Central Committee meeting was. But this year it may not be possible. But during that time, there are some really good breakout sessions, though. So, okay. So new this year is, it'll tell you what events are for delegates, what events guests can attend, what events are ticketed, not ticketed. So that's kind of neat. But also this year they will tell you at the business session what they're going to be looking at. So at 2 o'clock on Friday, you're going to have your afternoon business session. And the scheduled committee reports are the credentials, of course, rules committee, and platform. And that is... Now at 5:30, I have VIP reception, and then the grand old party dinner at 6:30, and the chairman's session at 8:30. The VIP and the grand old party dinner are ticketed events, the cost extra, but the chairman's reception is free at 8:30. There is not a particular end time for the afternoon business session. In years past, the state party has put out a statement on the convention's schedule that says that the time of the dinner may be impacted by party business. But that has not happened since 2019 was the latest. After Michael Wiley got elected, things became more of a speed event, unfortunately. So Saturday, you might have a ticket for the Law and Order breakfast at 8 o'clock. If you're like me and you don't, you'll report at 9:30, and 9:30 for the business session. You'll have the be looking at the plan of organization and the resolutions. 12 o'clock, First of Freedom lunch. Of course, that time's always tentative because of the business session. 2 o'clock is the highlight business session. That is, we're going to have the vote for the RNC National Committee man, the National Committee woman, as well as a slate of RNC delegates and alternates, as well as a slate of National Electoral College electors and alternates. And then tentatively scheduled is the VIP reception, 5:30. 6:30 is the Old North State dinner. 8:30 is the state legislative reception that is open to everybody, delegates, alternates, guests. Sunday morning, 9 o'clock, the annual prayer breakfast, ticketed event. But different this year than in years past is, instead of an executive committee meeting, you have the RNC National Convention meeting. Now that is something that says for RNC National Convention delegates and alternates. I was wanting to attend that, even though I'm not an RNC delegate or alternate, just to learn more about the process. But it looks like that's a closed session meeting. So it looks like for me the convention is just going to be getting the goodie bag on Thursday night, and then all day Friday, all day Saturday. Nothing on Sunday, which is kind of a bummer, but it is what it is. Now, in years past, I remember this is the first, in 2020, the convention was a virtual, like a short one-day virtual convention. That was it. 2016, I was in Florida. I did not attend North Carolina convention. So this is the first convention that I've attended since 2012 where you actually are going to have the National Committee man, National Committee woman, and the RNC delegate elections. But I remember 2012, it was also in Greensboro, the state convention. And that year, you had the convention, the national convention meeting was that Saturday evening at 6. I think they learned in 2012 to have it some other time, I guess on Sunday morning now, because that year you had the meeting scheduled Saturday night at 6. The problem was that we had a business session run until 8:30. They did the committee man, the committee woman, the delegates to the national convention. But then, believe it or not, they were able to hold quorum, and I think they beat back 2 or 3 quorum calls, and they were still able to get business done all the way up till 8:30. So you kind of had some people who were conflicted about dinner and then the RNC convention meeting. And there were even people there, a lot of Ron Paul people that year. And most of the Ron Paul people were the ones who were able to beat back quorum and were able to keep the business flowing. And I was actually, I don't really consider myself more of a, not necessarily a 100% hardcore Ron Paul person, but I support a lot of what he says. And I definitely supported the business session going all the way to 8:30 that year. And then the following day, we still had the executive committee meeting on Sunday morning. So this year I just a little bit, that kind of ticks me off a little bit, not having an executive committee meeting at the convention. But then again, the state plan organization says the minimum you can have is 2. So all you need to have is 2 a year. So I guess Jason Simmons and his team was thinking that just have you already had executive committee meeting at the end of March. You don't have to have one, have one again until, you usually don't have one again until like first Saturday in December, excuse me. There you go. All right, well, that's all I got to say. Thanks for watching the pre game show of the 2024 NCGOP State Convention. I'll have a lot more to say in the coming days. This year, I'm going to try to promise y'all that I'm going to cover everything on the convention. Last year, I had good intentions, and then just, I just had a lot of stuff going on in my personal life that I was not in a very good mood after the convention. Not just because of the way the election went, but also a lot of other things in my personal life. But this year, I have not given an endorsement yet in the committee man, committee, and the committee woman race. I'm very lukewarm on both sides. So I don't think I'll be too upset no matter what the outcome is, to tell you the truth. And then life is going a lot better than it was at the convention last year for me personally. So I think this year I'll be able to give you the full convention experience. Anyway, well, I'm Bobby, and I'm losing my voice a little bit, getting kind of raspy, so I need to sign off. I'll talk to y'all in a few days. Bye-bye.